Most people look at an INFJ and see someone quiet, serious, and a little hard to read. But add the year of the monkey to that and something shifts. Suddenly, there's a sharpness there.
A wit.
A strategic layer underneath, all that depth that most people never see coming. I'm Jhonna. This is Jhonna Unfiltered. And today we're continuing the INFJ Chinese Zodiac series with a combination I find genuinely fascinating. We're looking at INFJ combined with the year of the monkey. Quick disclaimer. I don't use zodiac signs or personality types as absolute definitions of who anyone is. These are tools for reflection, not labels. Take what connects with your experience and set aside what doesn't. I'm also not a psychologist or astrologer. I'm just someone who finds these patterns worth exploring and enjoys sharing what I learn.
All right.
Let's get into it. First, let me cover the basics of both sides of this combination for anyone who's still getting familiar with these frameworks. INFJ stands for introverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging. It's consistently described as one of the rarest types in the Myers-Briggs system. People who identify as INFJs are typically deep thinkers who are intensely focused on meaning and purpose. They're empathetic in a way that's almost physical. They pick up on what's happening beneath the surface of a situation before they can fully explain how they know. They're private, principled, and capable of being genuinely patient with people they care about. But they also have a very firm line. When something crosses their values or their sense of what's right, the response isn't loud. It's definitive. INFJs are known for something called the door slam, which is when this personality type has fully processed a relationship or situation and concluded that it's no longer serving them. They don't usually announce it. They just quietly exit. And once the door is closed, it tends to stay that way. Now the monkey in Chinese astrology. Monkey years include 1944, 1956, 1968, 1980, 1992, 2004, 2016, and 2028. The monkey is widely considered one of the most intelligent signs in the Chinese zodiac. Monkey people are typically described as quick-witted, curious, adaptable, and resourceful. They have a kind of mental agility that lets them assess situations fast and find creative solutions that other people miss. They're often naturally charming and can move between social situations with ease. They're also known for being playful, sometimes mischievous, and occasionally unpredictable. On the challenging side, monkey energy can lead to restlessness, overconfidence, or a tendency to use cleverness in ways that border on manipulation when the person isn't being careful. The monkey can get bored easily and may move on from things or people before fully investing. So when you combine INFJ with monkey, you're adding speed and strategic sharpness to an already perceptive and deeply feeling personality. And the result is something I'd describe as a clever philosopher. Someone who thinks with both their heart and their head, who can feel the emotional weight of a situation and simultaneously figure out the most efficient path through it. Let me break down what this combination actually looks like in practice. The first quality that stands out is the layered intelligence of this pairing. The INFJ is already perceptive about people. They read emotional states, detect inconsistencies, and often understand someone's motivation before the person has fully articulated it themselves. The monkey adds a different kind of intelligence on top of that. A more tactical, analytical quality that processes information quickly and looks for patterns and angles that aren't immediately obvious. Together, these two forms of intelligence create someone who is genuinely difficult to deceive. They can feel when something is off, which is the INFJ intuition at work. And they can also think through exactly what the inconsistency might mean and what the most logical explanation is, which is the monkey's analytical sharpness. By the time someone has tried to mislead an INFJ monkey, that person has already been read, assessed, and mentally filed in a very specific category. The second defining quality is the contrast between their outer presentation and their inner activity. INFJs already have a reputation for being calm and measured on the surface, while processing enormous amounts of information internally. The monkey doesn't change that external composure, but it intensifies what's happening underneath. The monkey's mind is always active, always generating ideas, making connections, imagining scenarios, and testing possibilities. For an INFJ monkey, the quiet exterior can be genuinely misleading. They're not spacing out. They're working. This also shows up in social situations in an interesting way. A typical INFJ might feel somewhat constrained in large group settings or surface-level conversations. The monkey energy loosens that. It gives this combination the ability to engage in lighter, more playful interactions without losing the depth that defines them. They can be funny. They can be charming. They can hold a room with wit and timing. And then go home and spend the next 3 hours thinking about the meaning of life. Both versions are genuine. The third quality is what I'd call strategic empathy. Most highly empathetic people feel deeply, but don't always know what to do with that information. Most highly strategic thinkers can identify what's happening in a situation, but sometimes miss the human dimension. The INFJ monkey does both simultaneously. They feel what someone is going through, and they can also assess what that person needs, what might be driving their behavior, and what the most effective and ethical response would be. This makes them particularly effective in roles that require both understanding people and moving situations forward. Teaching is a strong example. Not just delivering information, but reading the room, noticing when someone is struggling before they say so, and adjusting approach in real time. Writing is another. The ability to find the emotional truth of something and express it in a way that reaches people where they actually are. The fourth quality worth discussing is the independence and selectivity of this combination. Both INFJ and monkey are cautious about who they trust. The INFJ takes time to open up because intimacy feels significant, and they don't give it to everyone. The monkey observes people carefully before committing, watching for reliability and authenticity. Together, this creates someone with a very small inner circle and a very thorough process for deciding who belongs in it. This isn't coldness. It's discernment. The INFJ monkey isn't withholding because they don't care. They're withholding because they've learned, usually through experience, that not everyone handles access to their real interior with care. And so they protect it until they have reason to believe someone is worth that access. When they do decide someone is worth it, the loyalty is real and consistent. They're not the type who gives affection or attention performatively. When they show up for someone, it's genuine. Now, let me talk about the shadow side of this combination because I think it's important to be honest about where the challenges are. The overthinking tendency in this pairing is significant. INFJs already have a strong inclination to replay conversations, examine situations from multiple angles, and worry about future scenarios. The monkey's active and constantly generating mind amplifies this. The result can be a thought process that doesn't really switch off. Ideas keep coming. Questions keep forming. Sleep becomes harder. Rest feels elusive because the brain keeps finding new things to process. This can lead to a specific kind of exhaustion that doesn't look obvious from the outside. The INFJ monkey can appear functional and composed while running at a level of internal activity that's genuinely depleting. Learning to create deliberate pauses, to let the mind settle rather than always engaging the next thought, is some of the most important self-management work for this combination. The trust issue is also worth naming directly. Because both INFJ and monkey are naturally analytical about people's motives, this combination can sometimes project complexity onto relationships that don't actually have it. Not every person has a hidden agenda. Not every unexpected behavior is a sign of deception. But someone who has spent years accurately reading hidden dynamics can sometimes find it hard to turn that perception off and simply be present in a straightforward relationship. There's also a duality that can create internal conflict. The INFJ side wants meaning, depth, authentic connection, and a life that aligns with clear values. The monkey side wants cleverness, novelty, stimulation, and the satisfaction of finding the smart solution to a problem. Most of the time, these two desires can coexist. But in moments of decision-making, they can pull in different directions. Do I follow what feels right, or do I follow what's most effective? Sometimes those are the same. Sometimes they're not, and the discomfort of that gap is real. The combination can also become emotionally detached when pushed past its limits. If someone hurts an INFJ monkey significantly, the INFJ side processes the hurt deeply and may shut down emotionally as a protective response. The monkey side, meanwhile, starts calculating what happened, what it means, how to ensure it doesn't happen again. The combination of emotional shutdown and strategic detachment can produce a response that's very quiet and very cold, and that the other person often didn't see coming. This isn't a character flaw. It's a survival mechanism. But being aware of it is useful, because sometimes relationships that could be repaired get closed permanently because the damage assessment happened before the other person had a chance to explain. In terms of career and life direction, the INFJ monkey tends to be drawn to work that is both meaningful and mentally stimulating. Routine that doesn't engage the mind becomes draining quickly. But meaningful work without intellectual challenge also falls short. They need both. They need to feel like what they're doing matters, and they need to feel like their mind is actually being used. Content creation is a natural fit. The ability to take a complex idea, find the emotional truth in it, and express it in a way that's both accessible and engaging draws on almost everything this combination does well. Teaching fits similarly. So does writing, counseling, strategy work, and any role where understanding people deeply is an actual advantage rather than just a soft skill. The growth path for this combination involves learning to trust more deliberately. Not blindly, but enough to let genuine relationships develop without constant assessment. It also involves finding sustainable ways to manage the mental activity, not by suppressing it, but by channeling it into something productive rather than letting it run in circles at 2 a.m. And it involves using the monkey's cleverness in service of the INFJ's values rather than in spite of them. The sharpness of this combination is a real asset. The question is always what it's being used for. Before I close, I'd love to hear from you. If you're an INFJ born in a monkey year, does this description feel accurate? And if you know someone who fits this combination, what's the thing about them that stands out most to the people around them? Drop it in the comments because real perspectives from real people always add dimensions to these conversations that research alone can't capture. Thank you so much for spending a part of your day with me here at Jhonna, Unfiltered. For those of you who are new to this space, I want to share a little bit about what I'm building here. This channel is my personal and learning diary. I am an ESL tutor and a solo dweller in the Philippines, living a life fueled by curiosity. Whether I'm researching the hidden traits of animals, diving into the mysteries of the natural world, or exploring the deep threads that connect Filipino, Japanese, and Korean cultures, this is where I document my journey. I believe that as technology and the world grow more advanced, our minds should grow right along with them. I use this text-to-speech voice to tell my stories for a very practical reason. As a full-time teacher, I have to be incredibly careful with my vocal cords. Managing vocal nodules means I must save my voice for my students in the classroom, but I refuse to let that silence my creativity. Using these digital tools allows me to share my research and my life with you while protecting my health. On this channel, there are no fixed themes and no performances, just honest documentation. From insights gathered in my global classroom to my experiences crafting a solo retirement lifestyle on my own terms, this is my way of staying productive and moving forward. I am currently working toward my goal of 1,000 subscribers, so I can turn this passion into a sustainable future for myself and my pets. If you found something meaningful in today's video, please consider subscribing to help me reach that milestone. Your support, whether it's a comment or a view, truly helps me keep the depressing thoughts at bay and keeps my focus on building something beautiful. If you'd like to support my journey even more, you can check out the Buy a Treat for My Pets link in the description. Shiro and the rest of the pack send their thanks. Thank you for being a part of this journey. I'm Jhonna, and I'll see you in the next one.